you know, I met you before The Voice,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you know this about me, but one of the things that that fascinates me about men in our journey through life is men who are fathers to girls,
Yeah.
who have daughters.
Yeah.
And the thing that stood out the most when I met you wasn't the fact that you were a dope singer, bro. Wasn't the fact that, you know, you fly and, you know, you're a good human being just on the energy and stuff. It was the fact that this fact about you that he is
Yeah.
a father and he has a daughter.
Yeah.
And I always pick and probe, but I didn't in those times because we were in like party out to like having a good time and all of that. So
Yeah.
I thought that we would just start there, man.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because hearing you go on The Voice, hearing you pick the song, My Girl,
Right.
hearing your rendition of it, and hearing that it was inspired by your relationship with your daughter was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is where I gotta start.
Yeah.
Because this is the essence of who this man is.
Very, very true.
And that's just reflected in all the things he chooses to create and to connect with outside of that. So you became a father at 16, bro.
16. It's one of those, if not the greatest, you know, luxury that you have is to look after someone else. And I fell in love I was in the delivery room. The moment she came out, I don't know what happened, but something came over me, and I knew that I had to protect her for the rest of her life. I'm 16 years old. I'm in the 11th grade. You know what I mean? And funny story about that. The day of, I'm at school when my daughter's mother went into labor, and so my mom comes up to the school. I was across the street at my homegirl's house. It's like chilling, you know. And
Skipping?
So, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
You know, in case she sees this, you know what I mean?
We used to skip back in the day, young people.
Yeah, I'm sure my mom's going to see this.
Sorry,
about
Mom.
that. So she doesn't even know the story. So I came back to school. It was like lunchtime, so we just went over there to like get something to eat.
Yeah.
And I came back, and my friend was like, "Is your mom like light skinned and pretty, kind of tall?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Yeah, she's looking for you." And I was like, "Where? Like, what did I do?" So apparently they put out an all call on the PA. Terrence Cunningham, please come down to the office. But I wasn't there, so I didn't know. So eventually I see her, and she was like, Wendy's in labor. We got to leave right now. And she's like, "Where were you?" I was like, "Oh, I made something up." I was like, "I don't know." You know, but she was so hyped. You know what I mean? So we go to the hospital, and seeing I literally held her leg. I saw her get her epidural, so seeing all of that at 16 years old is a lot, right? So I'm just making sure she's okay, making sure, obviously she's in pain, but the moment Tamia came out, it was like this wave of euphoria.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I'd never felt I cried like a baby. I'd never felt such a magnitude of emotion in my life, and especially to experience that at 16 years old. So in that moment, I think the luxury of having a child young, I wasn't thinking about where she was going to go to college. I wasn't thinking about any of that. All I knew is that I don't want her to be in any discomfort in any way, shape, or form, right? And so I remember I called my father, and I just kept saying, she's here, and I broke. You know what I mean? And I was like, I guess that's what it means to be overjoyed, right? Because we love that song. And man, I haven't experienced that since. That was 26 years ago. And I haven't felt that wave. I mean, after a dope show, you know how, you know, when you spend like, yo, I killed.
Yeah.
But that magnitude of like, you know what I mean? And she was premature, so she had to stay in the incubator for like a week or two.
Okay.
And so I would go see her and they would let me hold her. And the hardest thing was always putting her back because I knew, that I couldn't take her home. You know what I mean? But I mean, she's perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people know that. You know what I'm saying? And I remember how she smelled as a baby, and I would never forget it. So our connection is really, really, it's really tight, man. She's like one of my best friends because legit, we raised each other. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what it meant to be a father. I don't think anyone knows what it means to be a parent.
Regardless
because all babies
of age,
are different,
right?
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you just adjust. There's certain things I can't, well, she's an adult now, but there's certain things I couldn't say because it would hurt her feelings. I never really yelled. That's not my way. I never like spanked her or anything. Maybe a pop her once or twice, but not full on, like never.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to communicate, and I had to learn how to be patient and how to be compassionate and how to be empathetic because this is a little girl and she's my little girl, right? So it's like daddy had to kind of talk. I still refer to myself in the third person when I talk to her. I talked to her yesterday. It's like, well, you know, daddy loves you, you know, still. And that's my homie, you know what I mean? So it taught me a lot about life. It taught me a lot about how to, as much as one can muster, how to properly entreat other people. You just try to be a good guy. You know what I'm saying?
And you got that at 16.
Yes.
Because what I'm always thinking about is, for me, I don't have any children. I got a godson, and a lot of what you're sharing about your experiences with your daughter is, I can relate to some of those because I was there when he was born. I remember how grimy I was
Okay.
when it came to women, and how jaded I was in regards to how I felt men and women related and what men's access to women was, you know, all of these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I think over time that started to evolve, but I went through the dirty route to the path.
Yeah.
But as a 16-year-old, I'm imagining your relationship to the opposite sex shifting at such an early point that it changed like how you saw just women in general from 16 forward. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah. I mean, her mother and I dated for like a year, and you know, we're teenagers, you know what I mean? And as far as I know, we were each other's first. So we were already in love, and we did what people in love do, you know? And when I found out she was pregnant, I was like, yeah, that's probably about right. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, I had to tell my parents. So that's a completely different thing. And so it sort of worked out because my sister got pregnant at like 18, 19.
She older or younger?
Older.
Okay.
She was about 19 or 20, I think. And she got pregnant, right? And so I was like, oh, by the way, you know, my mom found out that I got somebody pregnant at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Bro. So it was sort of easy because it wasn't a foreign idea.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they were already dealing with that with my sister, and my daughter's mother's sister called my mom because my daughter's mother was like, yo, you got to tell her. I was like, yeah. And so she called. I didn't know that she had called my mom and told her, but my mom was more upset that I didn't tell her. And I was like, well, I wasn't ashamed, but I'm like, you want me to tell you? Like, I don't know how to tell you that.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up in church. My mom's a minister. Like, we grew up in church, and our daughters are 5 days apart. Yes. Born in the same week, bro. My niece and my daughter are best friends. They are literally 5. My niece is 5 days older than my daughter.
Wow.
Yeah. In the same week. 2 deliveries. One was on a Monday. One was on a technically Saturday, but it was late, like 1 in the morning on a Saturday. So almost Monday and Friday. She went into labor on Friday, and they were born in the same week. So now we got 2 little cute little things running around, you know, playing and knocking stuff over. And so it changed our family, but in the most beautiful way. And they're girls.
Oh,
and
both?
Yeah. Oh, right. And they're both girls. Yeah. And yeah, man, it changed our family dynamic. So now we have these 2 little humans running around that we gotta love and feed and clothe and bathe, you know what I'm saying? And I think what it did then, it gave my parents a new sense of responsibility. Because first of all, my sisters, I mean, at our age now, 20 is young. You know, I'm 42, right? So I couldn't imagine, even though I'm experiencing it now, which I'll get to in a second, having a grandchild, you know. So, and my parents were young at the time. They were probably in their late 30s, maybe. I got to do that math later. And now, to be a grandfather myself,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's weird, man, because I feel in a weird way that I've done the life things, right? I've had a child. I've been famous, may still be, depending on who you ask. You know what I mean? And now I have a grandson, and the story of that is I was living in LA, and my daughter had gotten pregnant. She was about 21, 22. And at first, my first instinct was, well, what can I say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was a lot younger, and her, when she was growing up, we talked openly about all that stuff. I was like, yo, I want to know what's happening. I want to know who he is, all of those things.
Yeah.
And as cringe as it is to hear it, I always wanted to give her the platform on which to be vulnerable. I'm her father.
Right.
And I can't get cringy when it talks about, you know, your sexual health but no, bro. You got to tell me. You know what I mean? I want to know. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's good. So when I found out she was pregnant, you know, her mother and I were cautionary, like, yo, you sure? Is something you want to do? It's your choice. You know, we're pro whatever. You know what I mean? Are you sure it's something you want to do? And she said, yeah, well, you know, I said, are you going to take the baby to term? Is what I asked her. And she said, yeah, bet. I'm all for it. You know what I mean? And so I came, that was October 2019. So I was living in LA, and I came home just to make sure she was good. You know, my daughter's pregnant. I can't wait to see her and see her little belly. And then 2020 came, the world shut down for 2 years. So I ended up staying, you know, because I couldn't even, due to the pandemic, I couldn't even go to the hospital, which sucks. Like we had to FaceTime because she'd only have his father in the room, or one person. I mean, his father did go. So that was whack. So I'm like, on FaceTime, are you okay? And she's, you know, that was hard. But my grandson's healthy. I love him to death.
So that was 2020? Yeah,
because he'll be 4 tomorrow, as a matter of fact. That worked out. So yeah, 2020. Yep.
Because I got a homeboy, they had their kid in January of 2020, right before it started locking down. Because they got in, because I think they really started shutting stuff down in March, I think.
His birthday's May 19th, tomorrow. So yeah, even her doctor appointments, I couldn't go in the hospital. Like when she had to go to her maternity stuff and check in with her doctor, I couldn't even go in the hospital. I had to like go get some coffee and wait, you know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to be hands-on, but this, you know, that's when the world was like, no, no, no. Like, so. But yeah, man, even being people often ask me, like, what is it like being a grandfather? My daughter's 25 years old. It feels, you know, like I think it's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
You know, I love him, I play with him, and, you know, we get along. Hearing him call me granddad is weird, because my dad stole Pop Pop. A little bit in my feelings about that. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to be, now my friends call me Pop Pop. And my dad kind of stole that, you know, but, you know, I love my dad to death. So I can never hear granddad enough. I can never hear it enough. Because he's so sweet and he's so smart, and he's developing his own, you know, personality. And yeah, man, he's getting big now. He's playing flag football. So he's doing all the cool things because he has a really good village around him.
Okay.
He has, and his father's cool. He has me, you know.
Pop,
Right. Pop, my mother, my daughter's mother. He has a huge circle of love, and I think he knows that because he loves visiting my parents all the time, and I think that has given them a new sense of purpose in life. Because my parents are young; they're in their late 60s, so they're young, and I know them chasing him around gives them a new sort of lot in life.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing for sure. So yeah, man, that's, you know, pretty much on the family front, what's been going on.
These kind of relationships that get disturbed when we don't take the time to know what it is to sing, to know how to get close to the mic again. But it's singing doesn't make it happen, or maybe.
Well, the person you guys are listening to is not just a grandfather, but he is a singer, songwriter, musician, author.
Yes.
Let me see what else.
Oh, you got it written?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wrote that. And a friend to the world.
Indeed, man.
Terrence Cunningham.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
so much, brother.
Absolutely,
I
man.
appreciate you joining and coming on. We were able to make it happen, and I'm so excited, man, to introduce you to the folks who are tapped into what I'm doing, and because you have an amazing story, man. Your love for your daughter is palpable, and when you connect to that, to understand like your journey and how that love has kind of directed you and led you to certain points in your life, man. I think it's some of us think that when we have kids that life is over, and I feel like for you, at a young age, you locked in a way that just used that love to propel you
For sure.
in whatever direction you wanted to go. And I project a lot when I do this, by the way. So if I'm wrong, please feel free to say, nah, that don't sound about right. But so when you had the baby at 16, I watched in an interview where you said that I just knew that I had to protect her and be there for her.
Yeah.
To the degree that you kind of put your music career on hold. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah. There's been opportunity that I had to alter because of that. And luckily, huge shouts out to her mother, because her mother knew who I had the potential to be, right? And so when I had to, I lived in South Africa for a while. So when I had to do that, Tamia was about, what's that math? About 12. And her mom was like, go right ahead. Man, I never had to pay child support because I was just so hands-on. And her mother and I, we had some turbulence early on. We're both kids, but now, shouts out to her mom because she's awesome. And we may be an anomaly because we figured out how to co-parent. I don't know how we knew how to do this. God's grace, God's hand in our relationship, even though we're not in a romantic relationship, I still tell her I love her all the time, via text, Mother's Day, birthday.
That's beautiful, man.
You know what I mean? And she really took the weight of parenting, and which I think in a real way is why Tamia is such a great mother, because her mother is. So she had a great example of two really good parents. So I would have to alter schedule sometimes because I'd plan on actually moving to South Africa. I went there twice in 2010. And the second time I was there for like 2 months. And I had a real estate agent. They showed me this beautiful house. Oh man, I'll never forget it. But I also had to remember, I can't just leave my daughter 8,000 miles away.
Yeah.
If God forbid an emergency, I can't get there for 18 hours, because that's how long the flight is. And I moved to LA. A lot of people don't know this. I moved to LA about 3 times. I moved to LA 2009, I think. I was there for about a month. And then Tamia wasn't doing so well in school. So I had to come back because when daddy's around, you know what that's like.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I had to, and very willfully, very willingly to be what I assumed a girl needed, because there's no, in my opinion, there's no greater affirmation from that girls look for than their fathers, right? Because sometimes with their moms, they may bicker, but it's something about, I don't want to let daddy down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why her nickname is Pretty. I call her Pretty all the time. It's like, even in my phone, it says my Pretty when she calls. And I enjoyed it, man. Like it's funny. I don't think I've ever said that. I really enjoyed and enjoy being a father. She's cool. That's my little homie. You know what I mean? And so I don't know that I sacrificed, because I don't like that word.
Yeah.
But I did have to be a father. I did have to not do some things.
Prioritize.
Yeah, I prioritized it, right? So, I moved to LA again. It didn't work out. So I said, when she graduates high school, I'm gonna move to LA. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do my thing. She graduated high school, 2016, May, I would assume it was. June, I was out. And because I told her mother, I was like, yo, I gotta go do my thing. And she's really amazing. She was like, you've been here since day one. She was like, I know what you're trying to do, and I know the potential that you have. She was like, go to LA, like, we're straight. We'll be good. And that's what I did.
When you were putting off your, I don't want to say putting, when you focused on being a father, that sounds better for me. When you focus on being a father, there are trade-offs to some things, right? And I feel like most of the artists I know who are focused on their art or their one thing have to put so much energy into it, and manage all of the doubt, all of the insecurity, everything that comes along with being vulnerable enough to say, hey, this is me. Right. What do you think? And then you look away, and then you look around to see who's looking. Yeah. And so I'm imagining you doing your thing to the degree that you're able to, while still being a father at the same time, and then saying, okay, now I'm getting ready to move to LA in that June. how are you managing the uncertainty of that through that period?
That's a good question. Because I went there for my birthday. My birthday's in June. And I stayed with a friend of mine. And she was like, you should move here. She's like, you should move back. She's really artsy. And she was like, you should just move here. I said, okay. So I called a friend of mine. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about moving to LA. You know, do you mind if I crash at your spot? And she was like, oh, I'm out of town for 2 months. She's like, I'll have somebody leave you a key. You can move in whenever you're ready. Just like that. The next day, I got a free apartment and car for 2 months. Right off Sunset in Echo Park. Shout out to Echo Park. Like Echo Park, bro. So it happened it was so easy. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know where I was going to work. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I have tremendous faith, in God. I said, well, God's got me. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna do my thing. Something that happened, and I got out there. I got me a, chill church gig to, pay for my Ubers and my, day to day, because I didn't have to pay rent. So I was just, going around auditioning for things. And this was July 2016. I'm in LA, and it's like, whoa, I'm here. Because I was there in 2010, but I was like 2 months. I wasn't there long enough. So now it's middle of summer. I'm in LA, and I'm like, yo, this is wild. So now I'm just, plugging away, little gig here, little gig there. And I was there a few months, and then I came home for a little bit because money was getting low. And I was like, well, I could always just come back to DC for a little while. So I came back here, went back to LA. This time I was paying to live in a hotel. So I would check into the hotel, go do my church service, take that money, go to another hotel, couch hop, you know what I'm saying? Go to another hotel, go play at church again, take that couple $100. Well, this would give me a hotel for 2 or 3 days. I'll do that. And I would check into a hotel, but you can't check in until 3. So I would check out, 11, 12. I would go sit at Starbucks in downtown LA with my suitcase and my laptop. This is when Craigslist was popping, like trying to get gigs, looking for gigs on Craigslist. We got this new pilot, blah. So I'm like, and I remember I didn't have a lot of money, so I would order a coffee, and a refill was like 50 cents. I was like, all right, bet, I'm gonna do that. And this is when I was here before I moved to LA, I was making really good money. Like I had a couple church gigs, I was straight. So to go from that to like, how much is it? Oh, okay. I remember I would
Take the cheese off.
Yeah, bro, listen. I would go to Subway and get a foot long, eat one half of it one day and the other half the other day. The next day, rather. And on a good day, I could order cookies. I was like, yo, let me get them chocolate chip joints. You know what I'm saying?
Subway do got some good cookies, bro.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, run me up. You know what I'm saying? But that's part of the struggle, man. That's part of the dedication. And I don't regret any of it. You know what I mean? And then I was living in like an art house. Like a bunch of us were musicians. We had this really dope house in Echo Park, sort of like the Silver Lake area. And I'd gotten a call to do some work with Tamala Mann. And she's one to do the Take Me to the King, da 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 da. She's a gospel star under Kirk Franklin.
Oh,
Not
okay.
under him, but he sort of. And so she was doing a Christmas album. And I had some songs. So I was going to move to Dallas to work with them because they have a reality show. I think they still may have it. And they was like, yeah, we're going to put you on the show and we're going to introduce you, blah, blah, blah. So we were talking about, I was like, okay, well, what's the budget looking like because I'm gonna need a place to stay if I'm coming to Dallas from LA. And I never heard back. Never heard a word back. And I was like, wow. So I was here visiting for my birthday. This was 2017. Yeah, 2017. And I called my friend, because I told my friends I was moving out. I was like, yo, I'm about to go, like, it's up. You know what I'm saying?
Dallas time.
Yeah. So I called them. I was like, yo, the joint kind of fell through. Like, I need to move back. And they said, oh, no, we gave you a room up because you said that you was moving to Dallas. And I couldn't get upset because I was like, yeah. It's like, well, we can probably do maybe 2 or 3 weeks or maybe a month just to get you settled. So I was here. And I was looking on Facebook. I posted something, and this guy was like, yo, did you get my DM? And I'm like, bro, huh? Because I posted, I don't know if it was a picture of me or something. He was like, yo, you get my DM? And I was at the bar, and I was like, yo, this dude wildin'. So I checked the DM, and he was like, I can't remember his name, but he was like, hey, man, I work for casting for The Voice. Hit me up if you're interested. Now, had I not been a little lit, I would have never checked that message. Had I not been a little tipsy, I was like, let me see what this dude's talking about. And I said, oh, wow. So I called him, and he was like, hey, man, you know, we've been, you know, tracking your progress. I didn't even post music on Facebook like that. Very, very rarely, because I was promoting, like, stuff I wrote in my book. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really push music. So we talked for about an hour, and because at first I was like, nah, man, I don't really like shows like that. You know, I don't need 4 people to tell me that I'm dope. Like, I'm good. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I respect them, but I'm like, I've been doing this my whole life, bro. Like, at this time, I was, 36? So I was already a full-time artist, you know. So he said, well, he did convince me. He said, well, your audition, it'll be really, really easy because you have to audition before you get on stage. You just don't walk out, you know. You know, we worked in entertainment. So yeah, there's a process. You just don't walk in off the street. They don't know you though. That part is true. They don't know you. They've never
When they hear you for the first, they're hearing you for the first time.
Hearing you for the first time. That is true. So what got me was he said, well, you will have to be sequestered in a hotel for a while. And I was like, that's it. Bro, within weeks of me having to move out of that house, he said, well, we'll bring you in for an audition. This was middle of July. And he said, once you make it, he said, you're going to make it. He's like, bro, I've seen you sing. So they set me up. So that's really, it's not the only, but that's the main reason why I did that show, because it gave me a place to live. I didn't have a place to live. They said, well, we'll, you know, put you up in a hotel. You'll be in a hotel for a couple months. I said, oh, that's perfect. Right? So you know, they brought me in. I had a private audition. They had a piano in there. I did my thing. And they were like, oh my goodness, like you just killed. So I got the call that I got on the show. The very hotel where we were sequestered was the hotel that I was paying to stay in January. Now I'm being paid to stay there. Incredible.
The same
It's
hotel.
the exact same hotel. And I couldn't believe it because I moved back 2017, January, and I was staying in this hotel. And so when they gave me the address of where I'm going to be staying for The Voice, a good friend of mine, she dropped me off. And as we were pulling up, I said, you got to be kidding me. This is the same hotel that 7 months ago I was paying to stay in. And now I live here for free, and I'm being paid to live here.
What were your expectations, man? Like, did you have any in terms of like how you were going to advance or what the outcome would be?
No. Like I knew that I didn't want to leave LA. I didn't want to fail again. So when that full circle moment happened, I knew that God really answered my prayer because now I don't have to leave. And now me being on the show is probably going to change my life, right? So I said, well, I'll be living here now. I just wanted some place to live, bro. Like, I didn't want to leave. I love LA. I still love LA. And so when I get there, there's a cast of like, it was over 100 people, but they got to condense it down to 12 on 4 teams, so 48 people. And so we're there, middle of summer. We're in Burbank. I can't say the hotel, but we're in Burbank, and it's like band camp. You hanging with cool people, other singers, other musicians, and what have you. And so when I would go into rehearsal, because of my musical prowess, I music directed every song that I did on that show. I arranged it, music directed it. So when I would go on rehearsal, they were like colleagues. They're like, oh, hey, man, Terrence is here. I was like, yo, let's have some fun. So we would just sit around and play. And, we would just share it, because we're musicians.
Yeah.
So the normal rehearsal they would give you is about 30 minutes. Mine were an hour and a half because I had to teach them what I wanted, or rather tell them what I wanted them to play. I was like, bass, you play this. You play this. Keys, play this. Guitar, play this. Singers, sing this. It was 3 singers, all incredible. And we made this thing. And it was great. So the story of the song that got me famous is My Girl. And the story about that
The Temptations joint.
Yeah. So that was another crazy thing. I was living in LA before The Voice, before all of that. And a good friend of mine was getting married. And she said, I want to come down the aisle to My Girl, but can you sing it slow? And I'm like, well, it's already kind of slow already. And I said, okay, I'll figure something out. And so I remember going back to my apartment and I was just like, how am I going to sing this song slow? So I was picking around on the piano and I came across this, melody. Right? No. Yeah, that's A flat. That's a musician thing. I was like, no, singing in the right key. And so I sang it at the wedding. Beautiful. So about a year later, when you get on The Voice, they give you about 200 songs. They're like, yo, pick your top 20 and pick the top 5 you can sing in your sleep. So My Girl was on there.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I know that song. And so I get an email. They said, yeah, we kind of picture you singing My Girl like in your own personal way. I did that a year ago. So I already had it. So I was like, bro, this is incredible. I said, yeah, just you on piano, maybe your own arrangement.
Yeah.
They had no idea that I'd already done that. And I was like, oh, this is easy. I'm about to kill this. And that was the only other time that I sang that song was on that show.
The wedding and then The Voice.
The show that changed my life. I hadn't sang it after that because I didn't forget about it. But when I saw My Girl listed, I said, ooh, I could do that version that I did for my friend's wedding. Because there was some other Prince stuff that I wanted to do that they couldn't get cleared at first. Then they got it cleared later. Because Alicia called his estate personally. Shout out to Alicia Keys for that. And say, Terrence wants to sing, how come you don't call me? Can you allow him to sing it? And they said, sure. And she let me play her actual piano. That was hers. The black joint on the riser is where I got that.
Because I was trying to find it online. I couldn't find it online.
Well, the thing, My Girl, they only had it licensed for like 2 years. So that used to be my, bragging thing because it had like 10 million views. Like the thing went stupid viral. So I would be at bars like, yo, I got like 10 million views or something. You should go see it. You know what I mean? And but they only had it licensed for like 2 years.
Okay, because that you can see.
Yeah. So I remember one night I was trying to impress this girl, and I was like, yeah, I'm a singer. And she was like, for real? I said, yeah. I said, you go look on YouTube for My Girl. I think they took it down like the day before that.
Damn. She was like, oh, you full of it.
She was like, you wildin'. But yeah, so and I was calling like the other contestants like, yo, is your video still up? And they're like, nah, they had to take it down.
Interesting.
Yeah, so when I was being interviewed, they said, is there a song that you want to dedicate? Is there a person you want to dedicate my girl to? And I said, yeah, my daughter. So when I did it, day of show, I wasn't nervous, but it's still like, this is it. So they're, touching up, my makeup, they, cleaning my clothes, and they get the call it like, Terrence Cunningham is next. So we do actually do like a, dress rehearsal, just, get your stage legs. And so the stage manager, he said, because the band isn't cueing me, I'm cueing them. So he said, when you get on stage, when you get situated at the piano, he said, I'm gonna wave a piece of paper and that means start singing. So I was like, cool, I got it. So if you ever watch the video of my girl, right before I start, I look up to the right because I was looking at him because he was waving the paper like,
okay,
it's go time. You know what I mean? So when you walk out, they're not allowed to applaud. They're not allowed, they're silent. So I'm walking, I remember there was neon tape arrows walking me up to the stage. And I had to walk on the stage. No one could say a word. I saw my family, so I waved at them.
Was that your mother and father?
Yeah, my mother and father and my homegirl.
Your homegirl. Okay,
yeah.
It was 3 people. Okay.
Yeah. So my homegirl, she flew out to support. And so I remember I was walking, and I've done this a million times on the piano, saying, but it's like when I sat down, I said, oh boy. And so I was like, well, it's go time. So if you go back and listen to it, I press E flat, blah, blah, just to like, okay.
That was your way of commenting.
That was my way, because that's like the intro. That's the fifth of A flat. So ba dee dee da, right. So I was like blah blah. That was my intro in my mind to like get my And I said, well, here we go. And I started playing it, and I think I got On a Cloudy Day. And so I'm singing it, and I get to On a Cloudy Day, and you don't hear that noise.
Yeah, because they banging like it's like all the.
That'll distract you. So you don't hear that noise. So when I got to On a Cloudy Day, people started cheering, and I was like, yo, I must be killing it. Because why are they cheering? I didn't know that Adam had turned around. Within like 9 seconds, he had turned around, and I could see out of my. Because I'm trying to concentrate, so I can see out of my left periphery that the names do show up like that. Well, obviously we can see. So he turned first, and I didn't know that all four of them had turned around. Because when I sing, I'm like I'm not looking at them. Yeah. They're about 30 feet away from me.
Okay.
And so I'm just, and I'm in my zone, and I thought all four of their chairs would turn because the song was over, but all of them turned around within like 30 seconds, which has never happened before nor since.
At the speed.
Yeah, at the speed of them turning their chairs around. So it was crazy, man. And it was one of those, as they were talking to me, I just couldn't believe that they were affirming what I only wish to be true about myself.
So let me pause you right there.
Sure.
You start playing at 3 years old.
Yes.
Parents told you to play the chords to see if you could repeat the chords or something, a Little Red Corvette.
My dad, yeah.
Okay, and they said you did it like flawlessly.
Yeah.
So you got music in your bones and have your whole life.
Yes.
It's playing in the church, getting paid. These people are like here in your mind of like consummate musicianship, singing ability, songwriting, blah, 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 blah. Right. D, all the above, right?
Yeah.
You had a baby, you're figuring out how you're gonna live, where you're gonna live. You get in front of these people. Yeah. I got moved hearing them describe how your song made them feel, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm imagining all of those steps for you
Yeah. Yeah.
and all of the journey. Because it's 2 minutes on TV, but it's a
90
lifetime.
seconds.
But
90
Terrence,
seconds.
bro.
Yeah.
And as much as I know musicians, creatives, artists, people who feel, want that acknowledgement, man, from people who they feel matter.
Yeah.
The other ones count too, but it's a different relationship to people who you respect, who do what you do.
Sure.
But I was connected to you in that moment and imagining all of what you were processing and going through with that.
Yeah.
And just feeling like, I can't even imagine what that felt like, bro.
Yeah. Man, it was really one of those out of body experiences. The performance, I've done that a million times, right? The platform didn't really move me. Once I'm behind that piano, I'm invincible. That's it. You know, that's my safe space. Because Alicia was like, you create like these worlds around you, and we want to be invited into where you are. She used to call me Planet all the time, because she was like, when you sing, it's like you just vacuum everybody into
Planet.
your world, right? And so Adam actually vetted me the longest, but they had to cut it. He talked to me, I'm not kidding, maybe 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. Because he was just like, man, because he had mentioned PJ Morton. He was like, man, you remind me of PJ. I was like, yeah, we've done a gig or two together. And he said, I can sign you. He's like, man, he's like, you don't need us, we need you. Mm-hmm. And to hear that, to your point, I don't know, bro. I was like a statue. If you notice, I was holding my arm where I had the mic. So I was standing like this because I just couldn't believe what they were saying. People that I respect in their industry, right? Yeah, pop, R&B, country, and Kelly was like, I just don't understand why you're not on the radio. She was like, basically, what are you doing here? Is basically what she was saying. She was like, I want to sing with you, like we can create. But she was like, you don't need this. Like, why are you here? So I'm like, well, they asked. You know what I mean? I'm like, but I could hear the sincerity in her voice.
Yeah.
And Alicia,
It felt genuine to me.
And Alicia was basically saying the same thing. And she was like, why did you pick that song? And I was like, I dedicated that song to my daughter. And I said, the only reason I'm just now doing this is because I put my career on hold for her. I had to be the father that she deserved, right? And then Blake is like, I've never heard any level of song on The Voice like what you just did. He said, at any level of this show, I've been on the show at the time, it was season 14, and he said, I'd never heard anything that moved me in that way. And so I was getting calls, emails, social media things from people, all over the world. And it was such I didn't know what fame was. I knew I was popular, but I mean, it was number 2 on YouTube.
For like all of YouTube.
Yeah, the entire website, yeah. It was the number 2 trending, what was first? Like Winnie the Pooh or something like that. Like the new movie was coming out. And it was number 2 trending on the entire website. All within a day. And so when my friend told me that, I was on such a high. And I was like, oh, she was like, did you hear what I just said to you? Like on the entire website, you have the second most popular video. I didn't know I was number 1, like iTunes on the R&B charts, top 50 overall or something like that. And man, it was such a, you don't know, it's blissfully terrifying, right? Because now I don't know how to handle that level of popularity. You know what I mean?
How did you handle it?
You know what? It's something I always quote is Jamie Cullum. He says in one of his songs, "When I look back on my ordinary life, I see so much magic, though I missed it at the time." So it's like, I still don't know how I handled that moment in my life. It was such a whirlwind of calls, and you know, I was getting calls from here. Muriel Bowser's camp called me. I don't know how they got my number, but they called me, and they said, she's so proud of you, and you know, she wants to meet you. I was supposed to do her state of the district address and some other things that she was doing. And I was getting messages from all over the world, French West Indies. People would hit me on Instagram, fathers mostly, like, yo, we want to thank you. He was like, yo, you know, I'm a man, but bro, I was crying when I heard you sing, bro. And he said, because, you know, I got a little girl, and like, they dedicated that song to the birth of their daughter. This happened more than once. They said, yeah, so when our daughter's born, we're going to play that song. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. I was here. I was at Clyde's one night. This lady, she was so sweet. She's with her husband. And this white lady, she said, because, you know, my hair was so novel. Everyone recognized me. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I just have to tell you. And she started crying. He was like, just bear with her. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cry, but it was so good what you did on that show for your daughter. She was like, I'm so sorry, I'm emotional. But it was so sweet, bro. I was like, no, man, please don't cry. Like, no, we're good. You know what I'm saying? So it was, I don't know, man. It was, and still, it seems like it was a fairy tale, man. Like it was great, and I'm still living in the light of that. But I never knew that 90 seconds would change my life, and still has. You know, I still get messages from all over the world. This lady made a statue of me.
What?
In the Netherlands.
Is that the one where
Yes,
you got the one and it was like bronze or brown? Yeah,
bro.
That was real.
That's real,
dude. I thought that was a AI generated thing.
It has to. It's what is it, like this? It's huge, because I read I don't know what they speak in the Netherlands, but English isn't her comfortable language. But I think she said it's gotta be like, it's like a bust. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like from like your
like actual size.
I didn't think that was real, dude.
Man. So the way I found out, she hit me on Instagram, and she said, you know, my daughter showed me how to do this on Instagram, and she said, I didn't want to send it to you at first because I didn't want you to think it was creepy. That she was like, I don't know you, but she made almost a life-size statue of me, and I don't know if it's bronze or what. So I'm like, can I have that? You know, but I think she had an art exhibit, and that was one of her submissions.
That's dope.
Yeah, and I've had people paint me, and bro, it's crazy. So you don't know the impact that you have, but people are your mirror, right? And you never know how much you can impact somebody. And I'm still living in that, man. And sometimes I gotta remind myself when I'm having, you know, not the greatest day, that bro, like, you do matter. You know what I mean? You gotta come out of this little funk you get in sometimes. Like, what you've done is something tremendous. It is okay to congratulate yourself on that, right? I mean, there's humility, but this one lady, she explained it really well. She was like, humility isn't thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking of yourself less. And that really, I was watching this TED Talk, and I was like, word.
I like that.
Yeah, because I don't want
that a lot.
to diminish what God has given me, or that's sort of like if I gift you with something great and you're like, it's just all right. So,
Yeah,
whoa, bro.
yeah. That would offend me as the
right, right. So I don't want to offend, God for blessing me with this musical ability. So sometimes you have to really congratulate yourself, man, because we've earned it.
I feel like I'm living vicariously through you, and I'm imagining all the ways in which this newfound fame and visibility can just be overwhelming. And I imagine, and there's a difference between fame and success and money, and sometimes like your fame can outweigh money. Or how did you manage that? I mean, because let me ask you a different question.
Okay.
Was there a balance between managing the fame and the fact that the money piece doesn't equal necessarily what the fame represents you should have?
Right. I mean, but that's the plight of the quote starving artist, right? You could be on top of the world. It's something I appreciate. When Kat did the Shannon Sharp interview, he said, man, I know comedians that are, to use his words, like busting their ass and they don't have enough money to get like a shot of whiskey after the show. So he said, wouldn't it be nice to give them some money to, tell them that they did a good job? So sometimes you get used, I never did it trying to get money, but the affirmation meant more to me because there was times I got stopped every day, wherever I went, because my hair was so novel.
Yeah.
So I'd be out and they don't want to stare, but sometimes they can't help it because they'll look at me and they'll be like, that's that guy with the thing. That's him. That's the dude from that show. That's him.
And they'll do this?
Every time. It's like become a thing. They'll be like, that's that guy, right? So I'll be there. So I can see them and I'll look and they're like, and then look back, I'm like, hey. They're like, oh my God. Oh. Yeah, I was in the mall. I was in, what was I, Glendale? This lady started screaming. This mall is like the size of Tyson's. I was like, miss, please. She was like, it's you. And I was like, yeah, hey, So that was cool. I mean, I'm talking, LAX, it's LAX. So it was always this black paparazzi or paparazzo. I think that's his thing in the form. And he was like, yo, T. He was like, can I get a couple shots? I'm like, sure, bro. Whatever. Appreciate you, dog. Word. And, I'm in and out. So, I mean, the flight attendants would send me like sorbet or like give me a free drink. They would write on the cocktail napkin, you were so great on The Voice. You have such a beautiful voice. And I'm like, yo, this is wild.
Ain't nobody sliding their number, bro. I mean, come on, man. I'm trying. I'm seeing because I'm.
Well, you know what's wild? Like, I didn't get the DMs, bro. Because
What?
I think, legit, I was America's black dad. So I think Shorty was
That's
like,
how that came off?
yeah. Oh, everyone's grandmother loved me. Wherever I went out, oh my God, my mom loves you. My grandmother loves you. But I never got, because I feel that they were probably like, he's not on that. He seems like he's a pretty established guy.
I thought you was getting Teddy Pendergrass, panties thrown.
Nah, dog. Nope. Which is wild.
Not to say, I'm gonna be clear. I've never gotten vibes from this brother that's how he moves in the world. So, but I'm like I said, I'm projecting.
But also, I had a girlfriend. I was dating a girl on the show.
Okay.
So it was me and shout out to Spencer Baker.
Okay.
So we were dating.
Okay.
So it's like we both knew what it was to be famous because she was a child star, and we were rocking really heavy.
Okay.
But even after that,
but the DMs didn't know that.
The DMs didn't know that, dog.
That's
I saw like what some of the other guys was getting. I was like, bro, I was jealous. I'm like, word, Shorty sent you what? That's crazy.
I'm wondering what
Oh, I didn't
the
get it,
dad,
man.
the America's. Damn.
Bro, I didn't get it at all, man. I'm sure well, that's not true. Every now and then, a shorter would be like, yo, we're going to be in such and such, pull up. And I'm like, nah, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Especially by myself, and I don't want to
Who
be
knows?
caught.
Yeah.
Who knows what you on, you know what I mean? And yeah, I've gotten a few, but nothing that I took seriously. It was like, you should come to my city, and you should, yeah. And I'm like, nah, like I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
How is dating, bro? Like as a artist, like is it hard to?
All of my successful relationships, even though they're over now, were musicians.
Okay.
All of them. They were all singers. And this one girl I dated, she was a piano player, brilliant piano player. And when I date what I call like civilians, it doesn't really work out.
What happens?
I don't know if they don't understand the dedication it takes to be a great musician, and I don't know if they don't or haven't had the patience to deal with someone that's it's a lot to deal with somebody that's famous, because I would be out and I'm getting stopped all the time, and I was seeing this one girl and it used to get on her nerves, and I'm like, well, what you want me to do? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, people know who I am. You know what I'm saying? Ron Burgundy say on Anchorman, he was like, people know me. I'm sort of a big deal, which is hilarious.
That's that humility.
He's like, people know me, bro. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, but all of I was in one relationship for like 11 years, and she's a phenomenal singer. So dating now, I'm not really interested. I mean, I'll go out, we'll have a couple drinks, we'll have some fun, but I'm getting to the point now where I want to be like settled. Now we're going to like do this, like I'm trying to get like married.
You want to be married?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That was a definite. I liked your conviction with it too, because I don't hear us speak with that level of conviction and move with that intentionality also,
Right.
by the way, which it sounds like you're.
Yeah, man, because like we're artists, man. Like we've done the things, you know what I'm saying, and we've had our fun. And by the way, congrats on
Thank you, brother.
your beautiful wife. So it's like that's what I'm on. You know what I mean? I'm like I've done the things. I've been a musician my entire life. I had a regular job. I worked at the State Department for like a month, and I got fired. And I was like, thank God, bro. I was like 19, and I was like, I got to get up early every day, and I got to wait 2 weeks to get paid. I used to be when I show up at the show.
Same day.
And I looked at my check. I was like, I make this out of gig.
That's that Aretha Franklin exchange. You paying me right then and there,
Bro,
in cash.
right. And I'm like, I got to work this long, and I can get paid this for one show? I said, oh, no, I can't do that. So, man, I've been doing this a long time. So, I guess, we're constantly evolving and maturing, right? So it's just like, I would like nothing better than to go home and my wife is sitting in there and we just chilling. We're watching TV, whatever. Just coming home knowing she's there.
That's something that's really, I didn't understand the power of witnessing, bro. Until I started looking at what really takes place in a relationship and the value of witnessing somebody's life. It's almost like if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's around, does it make a sound? And I feel like having a life partner, and for me specifically, I wanted a wife, not like a life partner. Like I want to go down the aisle, I want us to commit, because that represents the highest form of commitment in our society.
For sure.
So if it was standing on top of your head and holding the watermelon until it falls and cracks, then I would do that. But for as far as what we do today, this is the highest form. But there's that is my attempt to stand in the forest when the tree falls so somebody can hear it make a sound.
Wow.
And I didn't understand how powerful that was going to be, and how, because I think I was conditioned to see success in relationships based on performance,
Okay.
and not necessarily the process. So what was the end result of that thing? And then you gauge that as successful or unsuccessful, when it's really, can we witness somebody go through all of the iterations of life and let the success be your seat, your witness of doing that?
Wow.
And I want to witness
I never thought about it like
her
right
in all the facets of her life.
That's beautiful.
So that the tree doesn't fall without anybody being there to make a sound.
Right.
She made a sound when she lived.
Yeah.
I made a sound when I lived.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah.
And I never thought that I would come to that realization when choosing to hitch my wagon to this proverbial horse. It was like, we're just doing this. Like, there has to be a level of purpose and function that is outside of like what we're kind of told this shit is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing too many things fail.
Right.
And they're like, well, maybe the metric, maybe what they're measuring is off a little bit. But, and that's why I'm a huge proponent of marriage, man. We go out and we have these superficial interactions with people. And not to say there's no value in superficiality, but like when we come home and we hang our hats, like that person is not the same person
Of course not.
that's out, being the life of the party, at least not in my life, not in my existence.
Right. And I think that's the beauty of what I can assume a great relationship. I mean, I've been in great relationships. I've never been married, but I've been in great relationships, and knowing if it's at all possible, knowing every aspect of a person has to be a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
Seeing them first thing in the morning when they ain't sexy, you know what I'm saying? Seeing them insecure.
Yeah.
Seeing them vulnerable. It's a luxury, man.
It is.
And it's a gift for them to be that their true selves as much as they can endeavor to share, to entrust another person with that. I think that's a beautiful and it's a brilliant thing. And to that point, I'm getting to the place where that's what I want to experience.
Yeah.
I mean, dates are cool, but because I have such a great model, my parents have been married 45 years. Beautiful. And together, 50. They've been together longer now than they've been apart. So I've seen highs, lows, mids, and where they are now, it's like they're boyfriend and girlfriend now. I'm seeing them being a lot more like playful and flirty, and he's always out in the garden and she just stands there and watches him. And I think it's funny, she and I were talking the other day, and it's funny because he's going to see this. He doesn't want help, really. He just wants her to stand there and watch him because he'll, high water pressure the house, and he has a green thumb. The yard is always beautiful. It's always mulch. You know what I mean? So they have a great relationship, and that's a good example. And I'm like, I want something like that. I want, my cute little wife to be with me, and we out and we chilling and stuff like that. So that's what I want, in a relationship.
Do you have difficulty? I know a lot of women who want to get married and don't want to tell the guy that they're going out on a date with that they're interested in marriage, which I always encourage people to be clear.
Right.
Do you have issues telling women that, hey, look, I want to be married. I don't want to be doing this like floaty thing?
Well, I haven't been seeing anyone seriously enough to have that conversation.
Okay.
Right. And I think women are maybe halted in that idea because they fear it's going to push the guy away. But when you get like in your 40s, it's like, bro, you know what I mean? I want something that's real. And I think more women should tell guys up front. But sometimes it may come across like it's, well, I'm just letting you know. It's like, well, nobody wants that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way. It's
Like it does have to be
bro.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Understood.
You know what I mean? Like we just ordered appetizers. Like why, how we get on this already?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, that is something that I would love because now I'm reaching, I'm sort of what I call, or people our age, we're like in the early spring of our lives, right? God willing, we have another 50, 60 years to live, God willing, right?
It's gonna have us in 100, bro.
Hey, well, you know they're saying now a lot more people are living to the hundreds due to like diets, nutrition,
Facts.
you know, things in modern medicine. People are living more healthy lives than they were before. So I mean, you see someone that's 70, they look like they're 50 something.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, people still think we're in our 30s.
Yeah.
You know, and if it wasn't for this beard, you know,
You be like late 20s.
Like
yeah,
late-
especially because that joint grayed out.
Oh man,
Salt and pepper, Spinderella.
Yeah, I can't get it up here. It's all it's black up here for some reason. But I'm getting to a place where I just want to be settled, bro. Like I've been transient for the past like over 10 years. And I'm like a nomad. I carry a book bag everywhere I go because I never know if I'm gonna get called for a gig. I got all my gear in there, you know. But I want to literally and figuratively unpack, right? Because I've been bouncing between here and LA the past 10 years or so. I stay there for a while, come back here, stay here for a while, go back there. I was living down at the wharf. I had a residency there. And that lasted about a year. So I moved out of there, moved somewhere else. And all this bouncing, which I do love that I have the flexibility to do that.
Yeah.
But I just want to like, you know what I mean? Just be home and not have to worry about how long is this lease or how long is this or that. Like, that's something that I really have been praying about. And I feel that it's coming, it's going to come like in a really fast way where everything is just going to connect. And I can just sit there and be like, okay. Because the clearer I am, the more creative I am. So if I know I got my studio set up, boom, 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 I'm good. That's when I'm productive. You know what I mean?
Speaking of creativity, and let me take a step back. I want to acknowledge what you just said. That settling piece resonates with me. And thank you for sharing that. And I do, based on the words that you use, I felt like the image is clear in your mind of what that means.
Very clear.
And what it's going to feel like and why your soul and spirit is actually driving you to want to create that for your life. So I didn't want to go past acknowledging that because I did feel that in what you were saying, and it resonates. But I gotta ask you a question about the creative, bro. Don't take this the wrong way, because it's coming from a good place. Why I can't go listen to no Terrence Cunningham music, bro?
Man.
Tell me what's going on with you and making projects and putting out CDs and.
Man, it's honestly you and everyone else. They're like, yo, I think it's just fear, man. It's fear that people won't like it.
So you got to that fast.
Yeah. I mean, I've recorded a bunch of things, but I don't feel that they're ready. Not that I'm the only one that can sort of give that green light, but it's like, I don't know, man. Nothing that I've created, that's not true. A lot of what no, that's not true either. How do I want to say this? I create all the time, but for me, it's never good enough. But I think that might be every artist, but they supersede that momentary insecurity and get paid millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So I did promise myself I'm going to finally, because people are like, yo, where's your music? Like, we know you got the stuff on The Voice, but where's your personal stuff? And I hold it so closely, you know what I mean? And it's just something I just have to surmount that fear of being that vulnerable. Because I do shows all the time, but people are like, yo, we want you in our homes. Like, we want to listen to you, blah, blah, blah. So I'll put stuff out here and there, but the whole project, I'm actually about to start working on a project now. It's going to be like American Songbook with got an orchestra involved, some genuine like love songs, just me and piano. So
You writing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason Reynolds, the author.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, he's from here.
Okay.
He's like New York Times bestseller like 15 times, something like that. You know Jason. He's on the scene. He and I wrote an album. This is gonna be wild. Almost 20 years ago. And he's brilliant, and the writing is brilliant. So I'm going to revisit some of those songs because the writing still stands true to this day. And he just happens to be, one of my best friends. So I have material. It's just me. Actually, when it's ready, I'll know.
You think you will, or do you think you'll tell yourself it's not good enough?
No, I think I'll know. I mean, I am a listener, whether it's me or anybody else. And when something's good, it's good, right? So when it's done and it's good, yeah.
I appreciate your honesty and how you could just get straight to the fear.
Yeah.
And acknowledging that that's what it is, and what I appreciate, especially like somebody in your position. You've had people connect to you in ways that artists would love to have their fans or people connect to their art with. And that there's still like this fear, and I don't think it ever goes away, dude.
Right.
I just think we develop the muscle of working through it so much that it becomes less and less of an issue or of an obstacle in our life. It's always there, it's useful, but do we allow it to inform, or do we allow it to dominate? And sometimes we allow it to do a little bit more of the dictating than the informing.
Yeah.
And because I don't ever see it going away. Like when I listen to your music, I watched the Roberta Flack documentary, bro, on Netflix, and she was talking about, I didn't know, like I'm a huge Roberta Flack fan. I didn't know that she was just doing a lot of renditions of these songs. And but the way she did it, she flipped it, and she made it her own, like a different song.
Yeah.
And I never thought that was a skill.
Yeah.
Until I watched her documentary. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's there's an art to doing that.
Yeah.
And I felt like the art that there's a way in which you, I don't want to say use melancholy. It's not that, because I think that represents too negative of a thing, but there's a way in which you, you pierce the soul, and you get straight your choice of chords and the speed of the music, and like how you, like when you run and all of that. Like there's a way. Yes, there's somebody else's words, but what you're communicating is on top of that.
Wow.
That's just as much as just the words themselves. And I don't know if that's what you're trying to go for, or if that's just you and it oozes out of you.
You know what, man? And first of all, thank you for all of that. That was, wow. I had no idea. I don't. I think it's. I don't know, man. Like when I did My Girl, to me, I just sang a song. Now I was trying to be impressive because I wanted to make it on the show.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's something that God gave me, man. It happens naturally. When I approach a song, there's even secular songs, you can sing a song, but you can also minister a song. And I think because of my
I like that.
upbringing, that I grew up in church, we were there 3 days a week, every week, you know what I mean? My mom was a deaconess and I sang in the choir. I got the solos because my mom was a choir director. So I think my goal is to connect. I mean, I can do the vocal acrobatics and all that, all that, but I think more than that, I want to give the words meaning, because people were saying, you've made a completely different song.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, this girl she auditioned for Idol, and she sang my version of the song. I was sitting at a bar, and the captions were on, and she was a pretty young black girl. She was real cute, and she played piano. And I saw the words. I said, "Oh, she's singing My Girl," but I couldn't hear it. So I was like, "Oh, I was like, cool." I get a message, and it said, "This girl just sang your song on American Idol." I was like, "For real?" She said, "Yeah, go to YouTube." Sure enough. So I hit her up. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm so honored that you would, cover." She said, "Yeah, I told Fox flat out. Said I want to sing Terrence Cunningham's version of My Girl," and she got on the show off of my song, which is crazy. You know what I mean? That she would, want to cover my cover. You know what I'm saying? It was wild, man. So what I want to do, I mean, every time I sit down, is I want to really connect not only with the instrument, but also connect, with the audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's something that I'm not trying to do, but I'm also trying to do it. Because it is a very natural thing. I have a natural gift, and I want to see people well. So I think I have this sort of fatherly thing, and so I think I do incorporate all of that into certain chord changes and certain melody lines, because I want to give the song meaning.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, as I'm talking, is why it's taken me so long to put something out, because I want to make sure that happens on every song. Every time I sit down, people are like, "Wow, we don't know what it is about this song," but it like you said, people have told me that it touches them in a way. They said, "We don't know why, but as soon as you start singing, we just start crying. We don't understand what's this." Church people, unchurched people, they're like, "We don't understand what's going on." But whenever, especially my girl, especially, they say, "Man, as soon as you start singing," men and women, they're like, "Bro, something just comes over us." And I'm like, "Wow, man,
One of my favorite church. You know who Daryl Coley is?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so you remind me of
Wow,
Daryl
that's
Coley.
a huge compliment, because he
like his
killing.
When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all that He's done for me.
Yeah.
I used to go, man. I used to try to sing, and I was singing in the choir, and I would try to do some Daryl Coley. But anyway, I think that's why me and some of my other creative folks, we talk about these young people.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people who've been doing music their whole life. And we look at what some of these young people are doing. They're like 21, and they're sponsored by Clear Channel, and they're selling out, 600 seat venues at $50 a pop. And, You know, they got all of this relationship and all of this motion. But their relationship to their art is different because they're constantly putting music out.
Yeah.
They're doing it. And for us, I think there's a way in which we relate to making something and putting it out that is still connected to like the gatekeeper type thing where you had to get a project and then you send it to this person and you gotta roll it out and then there's like all of this way.
Yeah.
And the young people don't have that framework because YouTube's been around their whole life, Spotify, Bandcamp, so all they can do, but they put out, they just.
Yeah.
And what I want selfishly as a listener and fan of you is knowing what the back end of making things looks like is to just put it out, bro.
Yeah.
Because putting it out is a part of making it too.
Wow.
That I think we overlook sometimes when we're just making it. I do feel like that delivery.
Right, is part of it.
It's a part of making it.
Right.
And if we're not delivering it, I feel like sometimes we're missing a major part of what it means to make it.
Yeah.
Like it's not enough for me to just come up here and record all of these and not put it out.
Right.
Like I gotta put it out because,
yeah.
and I'm gonna stumble, I'm gonna get a lot of things right, but I'm learning so much about myself through this process that I would not learn and connect more strongly and more deeply to if I weren't doing that last piece of putting it out. Because I think that once you start putting, you got the talent, bro. Like you're beautiful on every human level.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. And then when I listen to my girl, when I go on and look at the videos, and I'm like, I wanna connect to this brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever he's doing, I wanna be a part of that.
Wow, man. I appreciate that.
Whatever he's doing, you know, whatever you made you commented about. Let's see what the hell you said. Can't remember the example, analogy you gave. If Bono went to church when somebody was asking you.
Yeah, my friend, he wrote my bio. He said if Bono was raised in the Delta.
Yeah. Bono was raised in the Delta, and somebody else grew up in the church.
Chris Martin from
Coldplay went up to church.
Yeah.
Oh, grew up.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, I want to see what you do with that.
Right.
Because when I see when you take something, you do something beautiful with it. And so if the whole purpose of this, bro, was just for me to tell you that, then I feel honored, bro, because you are a talent, man. And the thing that I said before drew me to you was like you being a father, man, to a daughter, and like having a daughter, and what your connection is to that. And I think it's beautiful, man, to see you and what you're doing and how you're doing it. And
Thank you, man.
I just want to see I just want to hear some music.
Yeah, man. You know, and I think that there's an inevitability to what God's plan is. And for a while I thought it was too late. I thought that I had took too much time away. I thought people were going to forget about me because at one time I was on top of the world, you know what I mean, with that show. And then people were like, yo, where's your music? Like, you got fans, like, where's your... But now I'm getting those juices back to be creative again. I've been gigging a lot in the city, here, just really for fun. You know, I just want to play, you know what I mean? And so now that I'm doing that, I'm getting the ideas back to like, okay, let's go sit back down and let's try this. Let's try this again and put something out. So I'm getting that feeling. Because sometimes, what did Sting say? He said, sometimes I have to pray for my muse to come. He said, because when she's not there, I can't create. And, you know, he's my idol. And so that muse is making its way back.
Okay.
Because it was gone for a while. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to sing. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm over this. I don't want to do it no more. But whatever that thing is, it's coming back now.
Good.
Yeah.
Because do you feel like it's who you feel you are, right? Or no?
What's that?
A musician, a singer, songwriter.
Yeah.
Do you have one you enjoy over the other, or is there one that resonates more with you?
I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. No. They're the piano and singing, they're one and the same. Because if I sing, I gotta play for myself. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's like, what makes purple? Blue and red? Does that make purple?
Don't give me the line.
Well, whatever those two
wish
colors are, that makes, you know, they're both prime colors.
Okay.
Primary colors, I think that's what they're called, like yellow and all that. They're one and the same. Because when I'm singing, I'm trying to complement what I'm playing, but I'm also trying to complement what I'm singing all at the same time. So it's like I'm trying to impress. It's kind of hard to explain it. The two different things, I'm trying to impress both of them. Because I'll play something wild and I'll sing over it, or I'll sing something and I'll play something wild to complement what I just sang.
So it's like you're having a conversation with yourself using two different instruments?
In real time.
In real time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that described like that
Yeah.
before.
That's what's happening. Especially, yeah, because you basically lay a foundation for what you're going to sing. And I want to do that to the best of my ability, but I also want to complement what I'm playing.
Is that why you run sometimes? Because I feel like you're running the way someone would like play
Absolutely.
a saxophone
Yeah.
or.
I'll run what I would play.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm inspired by, you know, my musical prowess. So there's certain things that I know sound good on the piano, so I would just sing that. And I would, you know.
And you'll have like that scale or whatever to do.
Yeah. A lot of that pentatonic, you know, the gospel scales that people love. So yeah, I would play that, then I would sing it, and it's in a weird way, there's things that I would sing that I wouldn't play. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Because I'm not a big solo guy. I'd rather like pad. I mean, I got some chops. But I'd rather just lay back and play like crazy dark chords, you know. But I'm not a huge soloist. But vocally I am.
Okay.
So it's like, sometimes I would sing something like, oh, I should play that as a, so it's like it's a constant,
Wow.
It's weird. It's awesome.
I never thought about
fun.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about what I'm playing, I'm thinking about what I'm singing all at the same time. And I'm improvising both instruments simultaneously. So if I'm doing a gospel tune or R&B tune, I want to change some of the chords around, but I got to sing the changes that I'm playing. You know what I mean? So you're being improvisational on two levels. So it's weird, but it's fun.
I want to touch on this book, bro.
Wow. Yeah,
just in case.
absolutely.
I wish I had known you had written a book before.
Yeah.
So I would have bought it. I would have read it, and I would have connected to what was going on in it. But I did read, like, what was it about, what it was about, or what it is about.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what made you write the book, just in case.
Wow. This was 2008, I want to say, and I was sort of on this, not to sound trite, but I was on this like spiritual journey, and because I grew up in church, but a part of me felt like there's got to be more to human spirituality than this. Church is wonderful, but I feel like, some people endeavor deeper understanding of spirituality and godly things and stuff like that. So I used to write these little, inspirational blurbs, and I put them on, just as they came to me, I would write these little inspirational things. And I would put them on, Facebook. This is before Instagram, I think. And, people would like them, or that encouraged me. And, so I decided that I was going to collect. So I went back and collected all of them. And it was about 50 of them. And I was like, whoa. Like, I didn't realize that, because I would just get inspired and I would, just want to encourage you today, blah, blah, blah. And it was like 50 of them. So I had the idea of taking what my friend calls, he said it's a catalog of universal truths. He wrote his endorsement. Something about that, it's a catalog of universal truths that remind people that life, despite its issues, is ultimately good, or something like that. So I took the 50, it would be like 2 sentences, and I would expound on why I wrote that. So it would be a sentence, and it's like 2 or 3 paragraphs. And I put it all together, and a friend of mine convinced me to try to get it published. I mean, I didn't think, so I submitted it to the first publisher I submitted it to. They said, we want to publish your book. And I was like, really? And,
Just in case.
just in case, man. And it sold out on Amazon. It's still on Kindle.
Kindle, yeah, you can get it on Kindle.
Kindle. I think it might be on iBooks. And yeah, man, it was basically just encouraging people. It's like a modern day chicken soup for the soul. Just encouraging people that you matter at the end of the day. How you feel matters. And I know this one lady read it, and she quit her job and because she was an artist, and she had a regular 9 to 5. She quit her job, moved to New York, and pursued art full time. I didn't even know that, because a friend of mine bought the book. She said, yo, my homegirl read your book, and she quit her job, and she moved to New York to do art full time. So I feel like that's another side of me, because ultimately I want to see people well.
Because you are a friend of the world.
And that's why I chose that handle on Instagram. And they tried to get me to change it on The Voice. I said no. They said, no, well, how are people going to find you? I said, they'll find me. Yeah. You can just put in my name and it'll come up. And I said, because I'm more than just The Voice. So that's why I just wanted to be a friend to the world. That's a literal thing. I want people to be well. And maybe that's what my ministry is. I'll probably never be in anyone's pulpit, but if I can encourage someone to think of themselves and remember themselves again, that's what the book was about.
I often do that, but I'm always speaking to myself too.
Yeah.
I like the mantra, be what you want to see, or I wanted somebody to tell me not to give up. Okay. So I'm gonna tell somebody else not to give up. And when I tell them, I'm also telling myself.
Absolutely right.
Kind of thing. And it's the way I feed. Everything always comes back to the individual, but I always feel like, but if you're so self-centered sometimes, you can't see past
Right.
you. Like even like the depression and some like mental challenges and stuff, it's always like centered on you, like what you don't have, what's not working out for you and this or that. But if you can turn the gaze onto someone else, and use that same mindset
Right.
to maybe help someone through the process of helping them, your path may appear.
Right.
And I find that oftentimes my path appears through service. And it's something I didn't understand in the Bible when it talked about, God washing the feet of the disciples and stuff like that. And it's like, and it was such a blessing. It was like, it's something about doing something for others, even if it's an encouragement that also feeds your soul.
Yeah.
And so you might be doing it in that direction, but it always comes back to you. Because if I'm always looking at myself saying, how do I make me happy? How do I make me happy? How do I make how do I make me happy? Well, I make me happy by making my wife happy.
Right.
By checking in on my brother to see how he doing.
Yeah, active service.
Something outside of you. In closing, I wanted to read something
Sure.
from your book, just in case. Okay. Firmly believing the lives we lead are a direct reflection of how we view ourselves. A sum total of our thoughts, our relationships, careers, friendships, and even health are often reflections of who we believe ourselves to be, good or bad. The aim is to caution the reader to be careful not to dwell on the lack in one's life, rather having a sense of gratitude as we all aspire forward. Brother, you are a friend to the world.
Indeed, man. Wow. I haven't heard that in a while.
I think, and I'm just going to say this, I don't know how true it is, so just, again. I'm looking forward to your music. I think I'll just say that.
For sure.
Because a lot of that fear can be quelled if you read that.
Read what I wrote, right?
Read what you wrote.